Welcome everybody. In this video we are going to talk about Revit Options. So the Options is the panel where you can sort of customize Revit to meet your own personal needs and requirements and sort of set things up to be more efficient, I guess, with the program. To get to the Revit Options, you actually either need to be in a project already, or you need to use the home button. So I'm just going to open up a project here so you can see how you can access the options. So project's open, you go to the File tab, and here's the button for options right here. So just click on it to open it up. Or, I just escaped out for a second. You can't access it from the sort of intro start screen, but if you hit the home button here, you can then again hit the File tab and go to the options button. So I just click on that. It brings us to our options menu or options window. So we have our general settings where you can set your save reminders or the synchronize with central reminder. So if you're doing work sharing, you can have reminders to synchronize your file so other people in the group or that you're doing your work with would have basically your updates to the file on a more regular basis. You can set your username here. Journal files, so these are just sort of tracking files about your Revit sessions, and then you can do your work sharing update frequency, more frequent or less frequent, so more frequent or manual updates. So this basically updates the files, the work sharing files, and checks more frequently. So that's the general tab. The user interface basically allows you to customize which tabs are shown by default when you start your program up. You can customize keyboard shortcuts here, so you can choose different commands and add in various different keyboard shortcuts for all sorts of different commands in Revit. There's also the double click options. So if you double click on different elements, what do you do with them? So if you double click on a family, you open the family editor. If you double click on a sketch element, you open the sketch editing element. So it just allows you to sort of configure what the double clicking does. Enable recent files list at home. So when you go to the home tab, you can access your Revit recent files. Clearing sections, so basically how you handle the ribbon and tabs when you're switching. And then you can also adjust a light or a dark theme for Revit. So you can see the headings switch to different colors. So I'm going to switch it over to dark. I haven't used dark in a while, so might as well. And you can also turn on your hardware graphics acceleration if it's available. The graphics tab allows you to set some various different colors for some of the different elements. This temporary dimension text, if you find it too big or too small, you can adjust the size here. So just again, some configuration, some graphics, some visual aesthetics for when you're working on a program. Hardware information about your program, about your system. File location, so this is where your template files are going to be, where the default path for your user files are. The family and template files, so usually this is going to point to a Revit library somewhere. Root path for point clouds, so if you're using point clouds, where would you get them from? Rendering, so additional render appearance paths. So this is just, again, if you've got some more render elements, things like that to be working with. Check spelling, so you'll be able to set up your library or a dictionary of words, ignore words in uppercase, so it just sets up your dictionary and how the check spelling will work. Again, some visibility and some settings for your steering wheels and your view cube on how it represents on the screen, things like that. And if you have any macros or sort of automatic things, pre-programmed things set up in the program, you can work with them, enable them or disable them or whatever you need to do with them here. So you won't need to use all of the aspects of this. The default settings are actually not horrible. Some people do like to go in and reset their save interval reminders. The file locations, if you've got things saved, if you have your own personal libraries and you don't want to use the default Revit libraries, you might want to point to those different directions. The the user interface with the keyboard shortcuts, that's a big one, and the default tabs is a big one that people will customize to show only the tools that they need. It makes the ribbon a little more manageable, a little less cluttered if you sort of focus it down on just the tasks that you typically will use. So those are the Revit options. So again, there's a lot of options in here, a lot of things to go through. We touched on a bunch of them. We didn't really get into too much detail on them. But again, just take your time, go through the different ones, and it's always fun to play with stuff and see what the different aspects will do or how things change as you work through the program. All right, I'll see you in the next video.